There's this super unlucky guy named Ayumu. He's just a regular high school boy in Japan. On his way home, he tries to save a kitten from a truck but ends up getting hit. As he flies off, his backpack snatches the wig off the head of the school's principal. Because he's spinning so fast in the air, all his clothes rip off, but the truck can't kill him because he's actually a zombie. It all started when he went out alone one day and got attacked by a serial killer. He became one of the victims of a famous serial murders that's been all over the news. Just when he died, a girl named Eucliwood, who claimed she's a necromancer from the underworld, turned him into a zombie. Since then, she's been living at his place. Now, the assassin is still hiding somewhere in the city. Every night, Ayumu goes out, looking for the person who might be the serial killer. After becoming a zombie, Ayumu finds comfort in rainy days and graveyards, which most people are afraid of. For him, these places feel just like home. One night, as Ayumu is chilling in a graveyard, he hears the loud noise of a chainsaw. He sees a magical girl holding a chainsaw. He's in shock, thinking she's the serial killer behind the murders. But before he can think any further, the girl yells at him to get out of the way. He's a bit confused, but then a huge demon bear charges at him and pierces him. The girl is shocked to see Ayumu still somewhat alive. She thinks Ayumu is about to die and tells him that she will avenge him. The girl raises her chainsaw and cuts both the demon bear and Ayumu in half. Ayumu's body lies in two parts on the ground. Weakly, he waves at the girl, asking for her help to put him back together. She's utterly surprised to see he's not dead and realizes he's a zombie. Curious, Ayumu asks the girl about her identity and why she's here. Standing proudly with her hands on her hips, the girl says her name is Haruna, a magically powered girl with special powers from another world called Villiers. Magically powered girls are in cutesy girlish outfits, which grants them more powerful abilities. She explains she's here to hunt down the demon bear. In her world, these creatures are named Megalo, a type of being that originates from Villiers. They are used to train magical girls like herself. Haruna tries to wipe away Ayumu's memory, but something goes wrong. Ayumu somehow absorbs her magic, causing her clothes to disappear. In anger, Haruna gives Ayumu a good beating. She blames Ayumu for robbing her of her magic and insists he take responsibility. And so, she settles into Ayumu's home. Ayumu's parents aren't around as they are traveling overseas, so having one more person in the house isn't a big deal. Haruna isn't too surprised when she finds out that another resident of the house, Eucliwood, is a necromancer. She borrows Ayumu's phone to call her teacher, explaining her magic was drained by Ayumu, and she'll be staying at his place for now. The next day, when Ayumu is at school, his friend Arito wants to come over to his house. Ayumu knows that if others find out there are two beautiful girls at his home, they will tease him. So, he says no. After Arito leaves, a man enters their classroom and seems overly interested in Ayumu. The reason he's here is because Ayumu has some of Haruna's magical power, which attracted the man to the school. The man transforms into a giant lobster and demands to know why Ayumu carries the scent of a magical girl. Haruna steps in, revealing that this creature is a lobster megalo. Suddenly, Haruna shouts a command and transforms, a blinding light surrounding her. Now donned in her magical outfit and wielding a chainsaw, she charges at the lobster megalo. However, her lack of magic causes her outfit to vanish again. As the lobster swings its claw to attack her, Ayumu bravely steps in the way, taking the blow. As the two tussle, they both lose an arm. Having absorbed Haruna's magic, Ayumu realizes he might be able to transform too. Under Haruna's guidance, he transforms and becomes a magical boy. With a chainsaw in hand, he charges at the lobster megalo, leading to an explosion in the classroom. Those students who hadn't left the school stare in shock at the sky, where Ayumu delivers a final blow, cutting the lobster in half. Ayumu falls flat on the school field. Arito looks at him with wide eyes full of surprise. He comments on Ayumu wearing a dress. At the same time, Haruna declares Ayumu as a magical boy. With tears in his eyes and dressed in his new outfit, Ayumu runs around the school as everyone gathers to watch and take pictures. But he quickly uses magic to fix the damaged parts of the field and makes sure everyone forgets they ever saw him in a dress. A week after the Megalo's attack, Ayumu's dinner gets interrupted. A vampire ninja named Seraphim enters. She aims to take over Ayumu's position as Eucliwood's servant and challenges him to a duel. Ayumu initially wants to decline, but Seraphim insists on fighting. The two end up battling in a graveyard, and their intense fight damages many tombstones around them. Seraphim quickly notices that Ayumu isn't human. Leaves form into a samurai sword for Seraphim. Seraphim charges forward. Ayumu gets stabbed from behind and falls to the ground. In a swift move, Seraphim slices off Ayumu's arm, but Ayumu uses his own body to trap Seraphim's sword, then delivers a powerful headbutt. Seraphim gets furious, jumping into action. Every slice she makes seems deadly. But Ayumu, being a zombie, doesn't die from these injuries. After a fierce battle, Seraphim admits defeat, saying she'll head home. But when Ayumu gets back to his place, he finds Seraphim still there. She meant she'd move into his home. Since she can't serve Eucliwood, she decides to serve Ayumu instead. Now Ayumu lives with Eucliwood, a necromancer, Haruna, a magical girl, and Seraphim, a vampire ninja. The next day, Haruna hands Ayumu a lunchbox she prepared for him. Flattered by his compliments, she responds with a tsundra-like, "Drop dead." Eucliwood slaps her, sternly reminding Haruna that death isn't something to joke about. Haruna, a bit embarrassed, doesn't apologize verbally but offers Eucliwood a homemade roll as a sign of apology. It's clear that Eucliwood has a heavy past, which makes her respect and fear the concept of death. Ayumu's friend, Arito, invites him to go bowling. Meanwhile, the three girls spend the day playing games at home until they grow tired. Wanting a change of pace, they decide to head out for some fun. As Ayumu and Arito arrive at the bowling alley, Arito's attention is immediately drawn to a group of girls sitting nearby. Ayumu takes a closer look and realizes that they're the three girls from his home. Arito starts making assumptions about the girls. He thinks Seraphim is a spicy beauty who is serious at work but romantic in private. He believes Haruna is an innocent and charming cutie, and the armored Eucliwood must be the type with a surprising sexy allure. Panic surges through Ayumu. He absolutely can't let Arito find out he lives with these three girls. He imagines it would be social suicide at school. But just as he's trying to remain inconspicuous, Haruna spots him and calls out his name. Trying to avoid being recognized, Ayumu quickly puts on a head cover to pretend he doesn't know her. But then, Eucliwood and Seraphim approach him to say hello, making the situation even more complicated for him. When Arito finds out that Ayumu has three girls living at his house, he's overwhelmed with mixed emotions. Imagining all the possible things that could have happened between Ayumu and the girls, Arito bangs his head on the ground in jealousy. Just then, Arito gets a text message. Someone's inviting him to meet up. He decides to bring Ayumu along. The person who sent the message is named Kyoko. She, too, was a victim of a serial killer. Thankfully, Kyoko's injuries are almost healed. Ayumu asks Kyoko if she got a good look at the attacker. She nods. Excitedly, Ayumu listens as Kyoko describes the killer, someone around her age with blue eyes. Ayumu freezes. He asks her if the person had wristbands and silver hair. Kyoko confirms. Shockingly, the description matches Eucliwood. Ayumu is left wondering, could Eucliwood be the serial killer? And if so, why would she save him after supposedly trying to kill him? Back at the house that night, Haruna and Seraphim are in charge of dinner. Haruna is a genius in the kitchen, but Seraphim, not so much. She makes a soup so powerful it dissolves the utensils. Ayumu braves a taste and immediately passes out. When he wakes up, he orders a pizza. But when the doorbell rings, it's not the delivery person but the watchdog of the underworld. The watchdog informs Ayumu that he was meant to be dead and is now living as a zombie. The watchdog is there to take Ayumu to the underworld. After a brief scuffle where Ayumu gets injured, Eucliwood comes to the rescue, healing him. The watchdog recognizes Eucliwood and learns she was the one who revived Ayumu. He spares Ayumu but warns Eucliwood to be careful about saving people. Apparently, Eucliwood holds a high status in the underworld. Though his visit was in vain, the watchdog alerts Ayumu about a nearby imminent murder. Ayumu immediately thinks of the serial killings. He decides to leave the girls at home and follow the watchdog to see if they can catch the serial killer. Along the way, the watchdog tells Ayumu that when Eucliwood heals someone, she takes on their pain. Ayumu is shocked that Eucliwood never mentioned this. The watchdog explains that Eucliwood used her powers to save Ayumu means he's someone special. They arrive at the crime scene, ready to uncover more about the serial killer. It's a horrifying sight. The watchdog realizes the victim's soul is missing. This has been happening more frequently lately. As they're investigating, either of them expects the killer to still be nearby. Suddenly, a flash of a knife. Both Ayumu and Watchdog are paralyzed as they're pierced by the attacker's blade. The attacker hides in the shadows, so Ayumu can't see their face. The Watchdog asks Ayumu to take care of Eucliwood and then passes away. Injured, Ayumu returns home. He talks to Eucliwood. He asks her why she always suppresses her emotions and why she communicates only by writing on paper instead of speaking. Eucliwood initially avoids answering, but after Ayumu insists, she reveals her magic is influenced by her emotions. Her power is immense. Any emotional fluctuation could change the world. Her voice is also magical, so she can't speak. Even her heartbeat releases a vast amount of magic. The armor she wears is to suppress her power. She hopes Ayumu won't hate her and warns him that if her emotions are triggered, his fate might change. Everyone fears her power, but Ayumu reassures her, saying he isn't afraid and he'll handle his destiny. The next day, a whale-like megalo floats in the town's sky. The falling debris from its movement pierces the ground. Haruna hands Ayumu a chainsaw, urging him to take care of the whale megalo. Reluctantly, Ayumu transforms into his magical boy form. He leaps into the air with Seraphim following. Seraphim candidly comments on Ayumu's appearance, finding it off-putting. The whale releases a massive amount of water, attacking the city. Haruna quickly puts up a shield and urges them to finish the whale. Ayumu plans with Seraphim to create a cut on the whale's neck. Seraphim nods and slices a massive wound on the whale's neck. Charging up, Ayumu launches into the sky and delivers a powerful foot stomp from above, splitting the whale in half. After dinner, the three girls head to the bathroom for a bath. Ayumu receives a call from Haruna's teacher, Dai-sensei. Ayumu talks with the teacher. He then finds out that Haruna is actually supposed to go to Kyoto, not Tokyo. Haruna also needs to bring back some tofu for the teacher. Ayumu thinks he can help with that. After the call, Kyoko rings Ayumu, inviting him for a meetup. He asks her to buy some tofu, and they agree to meet at a graveyard. When Ayumu collects the tofu from Kyoko, he's shy about looking at her figure and turns away. Kyoko suddenly declares she wants something from him. Before he can respond, she suddenly thrusts a long sword through his chest. Kyoko wanted his life. Turns out, Kyoko wasn't a survivor but the actual serial killer. Kyoko, too, is a magical girl. She's puzzled by Ayumu's survival but is determined to finish him off now. Her magic creates a time-stop barrier, holding Ayumu in place. Just then, both Haruna and Seraphim appear. With Ayumu frozen, Haruna swiftly breaks the barrier, while Seraphim protectively positions herself in front of him. Seraphim urges Ayumu to transform and join the fight, and he does so obediently. Together, Ayumu and Seraphim charge at Kyoko. Ayumu demands to know why she kills. Kyoko reveals her aim is harvesting souls in order to get immense power. As Kyoko tries to crush Ayumu with her magic, thinking it will stop his resurrection, he suddenly grabs hold of Kyoko. This gives Seraphim the chance to stab through him to get to Kyoko. Being a zombie, Ayumu won't die from this. Kyoko falls to the ground with serious injuries. But as everyone breathes a sigh of relief, Kyoko rises, revealing she too is immortal. She stabs Seraphim from behind. This forces Eucliwood to step in. When Eucliwood shows up, Kyoko immediately gets excited. Eucliwood pulls out Haruna's chainsaw, and after a burst of strong magic, she transforms into a magical girl. Ayumu realizes that he's not the one who took away Haruna's magic. Instead, it's Eucliwood. Stronger magic attracts other magic. So, the one who brought the lobster and whale megalo and took Haruna's magic is the strongest magic user, Eucliwood. Kyoko's real goal is to steal Eucliwood's magic power. Even though Eucliwood looks emotionless on the outside, she's actually really mad deep down. She decides to move the fight to another location to make sure Ayumu and the others don't get caught up in it. Seraphim explains to Ayumu the truly amazing thing about Eucliwood isn't her magic or her armor, it's her unique ability to use word power. Just by her saying die, Kyoko instantly falls dead. And even if Kyoko comes back to life, she'll just die again. Kyoko keeps reviving and getting closer and closer to Eucliwood. When she's very near, Kyoko destroys her own eardrums. By doing this, she makes sure she can't hear anything Eucliwood says, making her words powerless against her. Then, in a desperate move, Kyoko grabs hold of Eucliwood and unleashes a powerful explosion, knocking Eucliwood unconscious. When the trio sees Eucliwood fall, anger flares up inside them. United, they rush straight at Kyoko. Kyoko fends off Seraphim's strike and sends Haruna flying with a kick. Then, in a shocking move, she stabs herself. By dying and resurrecting, she returns to a perfect state. Even her eardrums heal. The continuous cycle of her dying and reviving draws energy from the souls of those she's killed. Ayumu grabs the chainsaw and transforms into his magical combat form. He snatches Kyoko's weapon, and as it shatters, her transformation unravels. The now untransformed Kyoko can't fight back, and Ayumu, being undead, relentlessly swings his chainsaw at her, time after time, draining her soul. Kyoko's screams are chilling, but Ayumu doesn't show mercy. He brings her down to her last life but doesn't land the final blow. He decides to spare her life. Just then, Eucliwood wakes up, and everyone agrees to head home for a meal. Unexpectedly, Haruna's teacher Dai-sensei shows up. It turns out that Kyoko was also one of her students. Dai-sensei assures Ayumu that she'll take Kyoko back and re-educate her. However, another dark force suddenly takes over Kyoko, and she's whisked away before anyone can react. Returning home, Ayumu and Eucliwood munch on rice balls and chat. Ayumu asks if there are other zombies besides himself, and Eucliwood says that she once turned a dead man into a zombie, but he was full of malice, so she had to eliminate him. Summer vacation is coming soon, and Ayumu begins to review for his exams. Girls help him study, and the exams go smoothly. Suddenly, Haruna sticks her face to the window, announcing a megalo appearance. Ayumu, busy with the exam, ignores her. After the exam, he asks Seraphim for the megalo's address and rushes out in the scorching heat. At that moment, Haruna is battling a horse megalo, unable to move due to the poisonous gas it releases. Ayumu arrives just in time, transforming into a magical boy. He fights back and forth with the horse-headed monster. Haruna warns Ayumu to watch out, but before he can turn, a group of jellyfish megalo knocks him down with their slippery tentacles, which even reach under Ayumu's skirt. Haruna also falls to the jellyfish megalo. Suddenly, a cloaked woman appears, swinging 2 bowls of pork bone ramen, splashing the soup. The megalos touched by the soup vanish. Seraphim arrives, and the cloaked woman, named Maelstrom, greets her but is restrained by Seraphim's movement. She's also a vampire ninja but from a rival clan to Seraphim. Ayumu tries to help Maelstrom up, but she shakes him off, telling him to mind his business. Haruna tells Ayumu to go home, but he doesn't hear her. Annoyed, she pushes him, causing him to accidentally kiss Maelstrom, who blushes in embarrassment. Maelstrom later takes Ayumu and Seraphim to her secret base to show them how ramen is made, starting from raising pigs to the final preparation. They even taste the ramen, and Maelstrom gives Ayumu some extra pork, showing her interest in him. She explains how they use a machine to rain soup on hordes of megalos. On the way home, Seraphim tells Ayumu that the kiss is part of the vampire wedding ceremony. Therefore, in the eyes of vampires, Ayumu and Maelstrom are married. Ayumu insists it was an accident, but Seraphim says Maelstrom doesn't think so. From the next day, Maelstrom cooks for Ayumu and accompanies him home, treating him like her husband. Though Ayumu wants to be friends, Maelstrom insists on following tradition. Haruna becomes jealous, especially when she sees how close Ayumu and Maelstrom are. Ayumu wants to thank Haruna for helping him study for his exams. He plans to invite her out for some fun, but Maelstrom wants to tag along. Ayumu decides to invite both Seraphim and Eucliwood too. They all head to a mall together. As the 5 of them roam around, none of them notice a man with gray hair watching them intently. Haruna sees how close Ayumu and Maelstrom seem and gets very jealous. When the 2 of them head off to buy drinks, she gathers up the courage to tell Ayumu she wants to kiss him. But instead of a sweet moment, Haruna tackles Ayumu to the ground and gives him a beating, all out of jealousy. By the time Ayumu and Haruna come back with drinks, they realize Eucliwood is gone. Eucliwood is confronted by the gray-haired man. It turns out, he's a zombie she once believed she had defeated. On another side, Seraphim tells Ayumu that Eucliwood might have been taken by her own boss. They had previously ordered her to kill Eucliwood, which is why she initially came looking for her. However, after spending time together, Seraphim doesn't want to hurt Eucliwood at all. Ayumu asks about why they want to harm Eucliwood. She reveals that the higher-ups think Eucliwood's powers are the reason these creatures called megalos keep appearing. But she personally doesn't want to harm Eucliwood. Their heated discussion is interrupted by Haruna, who suggests they need to find Eucliwood right away. Meanwhile, the zombie guy gestures for Eucliwood to look below. Suddenly, with a snap of his fingers, a giant Ferris wheel from the mall's plaza crashes down, narrowly missing Ayumu. Eucliwood's emotions start to shake, and this brings forth a big Kappa doll. The doll lands right on Haruna and begins to press down on her, making it hard for her to move or breathe. Out of the blue, Dai-sensei rushes in and gets the Kappa off Haruna, but the creature then lands on Maelstrom. This makes Maelstrom's giant flame spirit named Mysticor come out. Mysticor takes over Maelstrom's consciousness and starts to go haywire. Mysticor is on the verge of exploding, but in a brave move, Ayumu rushes to Maelstrom and embraces her. He's the kind of guy who would never give up on a friend, even if it meant facing death. Perhaps touched by his sincerity, Mysticor calms down and goes back into Maelstrom's body. The gray-haired zombie named King of the Night didn't expect Ayumu, especially dressed as a woman, to be this capable. He warns Eucliwood that if she can't fulfill his wishes, he'll keep causing them trouble. Ayumu and the group head back. They arrive at a convenience store. Eucliwood tells everyone to head back home. She needs to buy something from the store. When Ayumu gets back home, he realizes that Eucliwood didn't actually go shopping. She leaves a note, blaming herself for everything that happened today. She writes that she doesn't want to be a burden and decides to leave. Months go by, and the city transitions into winter. Ayumu hasn't given up on finding Eucliwood. Haruna doesn't have any leads, and Seraphim, who also went searching, returns injured. She initially planned to get information from other vampire ninjas but got attacked by them since she abandoned a previous mission to kill Eucliwood. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Haruna expects it's her pasta delivery, but is surprised to find a violin instead. Seraphim seems to be quite fond of the instrument, and starts playing it. Once again, Ayumu heads out to search for Eucliwood. Today, he encounters King of the Night. Through sensing, he figures out that King of the Night is also a zombie. Upon learning of Eucliwood's disappearance, King of the Night decides to kill the three of them to force Eucliwood out of hiding. Ayumu tells the others to stay back as he tries to handle the Night King himself, but King of the Night easily overpowers him. After defeating Ayumu, King of the Night moves to attack Seraphim and Haruna, wanting to force Eucliwood out. Maelstrom arrives with another vampire ninja called Sarasvati. King of the Night has to retreat. Seraphim is looked down upon by other vampire ninjas because she gave up her mission to kill Eucliwood. To a vampire ninja, finishing a mission is super important. She decides to go out on her own to search for Eucliwood again, only to find Eucliwood standing right outside the door. Before Seraphim can even greet her, she's suddenly pierced by an attack from behind. King of the Night steps out and insists that Eucliwood comes with him. Eucliwood revives the injured Seraphim by giving her a drop of her blood. When Seraphim wakes up, she tells the others about what happened. Armed with a chainsaw, Ayumu and Haruna rush out. They find where King of the Night lives. King of the Night unexpectedly invites them to dinner. Ayumu, not in the mood to eat, asks Eucliwood to come home with him. Just then, other girls arrive on the scene. King of the Night doesn't seem willing to let Eucliwood go. He plants a bomb on Haruna's head and opens a window to leave with Eucliwood. As Ayumu reaches out to grab Eucliwood's hand, it looks like they're about to connect, but Eucliwood decides to retract her hand at the very last moment. The three of them are trying to figure out what to do with the bomb. The bomb automatically moves to the head of the person closest to it, so Ayumu decides to take the bomb himself. After all, he's a zombie and can't really die. He jumps off the building. Just before the bomb goes off, he wonders why Eucliwood didn't hold onto his hand. The explosion scatters Ayumu's pieces everywhere. Haruna and the others manage to gather all the bits and pieces around the city. Being a zombie, Ayumu's body can naturally heal itself, but he remains unconscious. Worried about him not waking up, Haruna contacts her teacher Dai-sensei. Dai-sensei lets Haruna enter Ayumu's subconscious. In Ayumu's subconscious, he is distressed, wondering why Eucliwood let go of his hand and chose to go with the King of the Night. Haruna appears and tells Ayumu to be upfront with his feelings for Eucliwood. Seeing him still torn, Haruna delivers a strong punch, waking Ayumu from his deep slumber. When Ayumu wakes up, he senses something off about the sky above the Tokyo Tower. He and Haruna rush to the tower and find both King of the Night and Eucliwood there. The King of the Night reveals that, despite Eucliwood's clear disdain for him, she's never willing to let him die. He's grown tired of his immortal zombie life and wishes for an end. But he knows Eucliwood doesn't want to harm anyone. To force her hand, he threatens to destroy the city. Summoning a massive ghostly mask, which is actually a portal to the demon world, the King of the Night warns that countless megalos will pour out and wreck the city. The only way to shut this gate is for vampires to play a calming tune. Seraphim, taking the challenge, begins to play her violin on the rooftop. Her music calms one megalo after another, making them vanish. Other vampire ninjas arrive to join in, strengthening the calming melody with their instruments. King of the Night tells Ayumu that when he first became immortal, it felt amazing. But as time went on, not being able to die became painful. He asks, by summoning the megalo to destroy the city, wouldn't Eucliwood hate him? He challenges her to end his misery and kill him. However, Eucliwood, using a piece of paper, communicates that she doesn't want to hurt him. Angry, King of the Night decides to force her hand by attacking Ayumu with waves of dark mist. The chainsaw vibrates intensely. Haruna gets it. The chainsaw wants her and Ayumu to transform. Together, they transform into magical girls and attack King of the Night, resulting in a massive explosion. The force sends Haruna flying. Ayumu confronts King of the Night, asking why he forces Eucliwood to do something she dislikes. Even though King of the Night has known Eucliwood longer, Ayumu accuses him of not truly understanding her. He questions if he's ever witnessed her smile, if he's aware of what food she loves most, and if he truly values her kindness. Ayumu delivers a powerful punch, blasting a hole in King of the Night's head. King of the Night warns Ayumu if one day Ayumu experiences the pain of not being able to die, he should not blame Eucliwood. Ayumu firmly states he won't. Eucliwood finally agrees to let him die, shedding tears. Once it's over, Ayumu rushes to Eucliwood, hugging her tightly and vowing never to let her go. For the first time, Eucliwood speaks, promising she won't leave him. She warns Ayumu that she might bring him misfortune, but he dismisses it, believing fate can be changed. Just then, Haruna returns, having been sent on a whirlwind world tour by the explosion. She's even brought back tons of souvenirs. As Eucliwood greets her, Haruna is stunned to hear her speak and compliments her voice. Ayumu, Haruna, Eucliwood and Seraphim go to an indoor swimming pool where they also run into Maelstrom and her friends. On stage, there's an idol performing. Ayumu looks closely and realizes it's Sarasvati, another vampire ninja like Seraphim. His buddy Arito is a big fan of hers. Sarasvati got famous online and now she's the hottest idol on the charts. Seraphim is shocked to see Sarasvati on stage. She rushes up to her, asking why she's here. In no time, people think Seraphim is a new idol too. Sarasvati suggests they have a singing battle right there. Seraphim agrees and they both start performing. Haruna sees them having so much fun, she dashes onto the stage to sing too. Surprisingly, she's even more popular than both of them. Then, Eucliwood shows up. She looks eager to join the performance. Dai-sensei arrives with a magic sealing machine. It can transfer Eucliwood's magical power to Ayumu for a short time, allowing her to perform. With just her voice, Eucliwood can enchant everyone. But just as things are heating up, the machine runs out of power. Thankfully, Haruna steps up and supplies the magic. Together, they finish the song, while Seraphim and Sarasvati become backup dancers. Ayumu thinks this moment is perfect. He can't help but stare at Seraphim's outfit. He suddenly says he wishes all the girls around the world dressed in such a way. Since he temporarily has Eucliwood's magic powers, his words alter reality. Every girl suddenly wears skimpy bikinis. Ayumu gets a solid beating from everyone. That's it for Season 1. Thanks for watching.